Work and learn. Meet Light Meet Max. සක්‍රිය කර ගැනීමට MySLT app එකට log වෙන්න. Work and learn. Meet Light Meet Max. සක්‍රිය කර ගැනීමට MySLT app එකට log වෙන්න.
Sunsilk Cutie. මිලිලීටර් 40 රුපියල් 145කට. ප්‍රයිස් එකත් ස්මූත්. කොණ්ඩෙත් ස්මූත්.
හරිම සුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9, this Friday the 23rd of December 2022. Displeasure. Buddhist and Pali University students protest in front of Derana head office today against expose. Passing clouds. Met Department warns of heavy rains and winds to take place in the country within the next 48 hours. Safe and sound. Epavala police finds 9-year-old boy reported missing from December 19 and apprehends suspect.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9 with Andrew Bernard. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and welcome to AdaDerana 24's English News. Now, the President of the National Chamber of Commerce, Nandika Buddhipala, recently stated that cordial interactions with the business communities of foreign nations is crucial for the Sri Lankan business community to develop its export sector. He made these remarks at an event organized by the National Chamber of Commerce to connect local business leaders with the newly appointed ambassador designates.
Yesterday, a special session was organized by the National Chamber of Commerce to introduce business leaders of various local industries to the newly appointed ambassador designates. Speaking at the event, the President of the National Chamber of Commerce, Nandika Buddhipala, highlighted the importance of maintaining cordial relationships with the foreign nations to develop Sri Lanka's export sector.
Most important element is going to be, one element is going to be our export-oriented business to develop. The second thing is business collaboration, where our factor productivity needs to get improved and we need to be competitive. So for us to be competitive, we always look upon having some kind of joint ventures, having some kind of interactions with other countries.
I think according to the numbers, we are in the 20th place in Israel when we check with the exports. Therefore, it is one of the best destinations we can develop. I would like to highlight all the business people in the South Asia division. We facilitated them for the SAARC visa. Unfortunately, we stopped that one due to the various reasons. I would like to give assurance, I think within 1 or 2 months, we can reissue the visas for the genuine business community with the police clearance from the police department.
Jordan was the 40th export destination of Sri Lanka in 2021. Since the Syrian conflict, as you all know, in the region, the earlier Syrian government has a big market for Sri Lanka tea. Now it has converted to other Middle East countries. So Jordan has been used as the transit point for Sri Lanka tea to distribute to other countries. So at the same time, there are some pending trade agreements. They are trying to expedite all the agreements in order to enhance bilateral relations among the both countries.
We should attract foreigners to this country. We have a medical tourism which we have not touched in our country. A lot of people do after COVID is either the industry is booming. I would like our designated ambassadors, please look into that side as well, because this medical tourism is, there's no limit. So they can come any time of the year, and we are their cater. As I was saying about the Middle East countries, and focus very well. They have a lot of problems. When they come in during certain period, they do stay for 2-3 weeks in Sri Lanka, medical plus tourism.
Now, with just hours before Christmas, the Department of Meteorology has issued a weather advisory warning all Sri Lankans of possible showers and thunderstorms around the country. The adverse weather conditions are a result of a depression over the southwest Bay of Bengal.
The Department of Meteorology said in an advisory that the depression over southwest Bay of Bengal, located 350 kilometers to the northeast of Trincomalee, is likely to cross Sri Lanka by tomorrow. Wind speed is likely to increase up to 55 to 65 kilometers per hour at times, and showers or thunder showers can be expected in central and southwest Bay of Bengal and eastern and northern sea areas of Sri Lanka. The naval and fishing communities are advised not to venture into the deep and shallow sea areas of the coast extending from Mannar to Pothaville via Kankasanture, Trincomalee and Batiklo, Southwest Bay of Bengal until further notice. Those who are out at aforementioned sea areas are advised to return to coast or move to safer areas immediately. The fishing and naval community are requested to be attentive to future forecasts issued by the Department of Meteorology in this regard. Meanwhile, on land, showers or thunder showers will occur at times over most parts of the country, while heavy showers above 100 millimeters can be expected in certain areas. Strong gusty winds of about 40 to 50 km per hour can be expected at times over the northern, eastern, Uva and Sabargamu provinces and in Gaul and Mathura districts.
Now, the Epavela police yesterday managed to arrest the suspect responsible for taking a 9-year-old away from his house on the 19th of December and returned the child to the safety of his family as well. The police stated that the initial investigations had revealed that the 9-year-old had voluntarily gone with the suspect following a discussion that took place between his parents regarding ordaining the child. A 9-year-old boy has been reported missing since the 19th of this month. The mother of the child stated that he had been taken by a person who had frequented the house. The Epavela police commenced investigations immediately after the incident was reported by the family. Initial investigations revealed that the suspect who frequented the residence of the child, claiming to be an electrician, had taken the child to a few of his relatives' houses in Marthale and Ukuvela. As such, the mother of the child had yesterday been able to get in touch with the suspect who abducted the 9-year-old boy last night. Following this, the police traced the location of the phone call to a house in the Johnsland estate in Rikilagaskhanda, Nuwara and took the child under their custody. The police also arrested the abductor and the owner of the house. Meanwhile, the suspect in question and the child was brought to the Epavela police station today for further investigations. The police stated that initial investigations revealed that the child had voluntarily gone with the suspect.
දරුවා දැනට පවසන්නේ ඔහුව දෙමාපියන් විසින් මහාන කිරීමක් සඳහා යෝජනා කරලා ඒ ගැන නිවසේ කතා වුණා. නිවසේ සිටින්න නිවසේ රැඳී සිටින්න ඔහු යම්කිසි අකමැත්තක් දක්වනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ පුද්ගලයා සමග ඒ ස්ථානයට යන්න හේතු වුණා. ඒ වගේම සැකකරුද්දනුන් දෙන්නේ මේ දරුවා නිවසට යෑම ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරා. ඒ නිසා මේ වගේ දරුවත් එක්ක යන්න තීරණය කරා කියලා.
In the meantime, while the child is to be presented before the forensic officer for a medical examination, the suspected electrician is also to be presented before the Thamuttegama Magistrates Court. Now, the deadline for the submission of applications for the scholarship program funded by the President's Fund has been extended subsequent to the requests made to the President by students and parents. Accordingly, the Presidential Secretariat has informed authorities to make provisions to accept applications during the school vacations.
The closing date for the submission of applications for the scholarship program utilizing funds from the President's Fund for students who passed the GCE Ordinary Level Examination in 2021-2022 and are sitting for the GCE Advanced Level Examination in 2024 has been extended to the 30th of December. Although the duly completed applications were to be submitted to the principals of the respective schools on or before the 23rd of December, it was later decided to extend the deadline to Saturday the 30th of December 2022 upon considerations of the requests made to the President by students and parents. Accordingly, the Presidential Secretariat has instructed the Secretary to the Ministry of Education to establish a mechanism to ensure that the applications are received from the officers of the schools during the vacation between the 23rd of December and the 2nd of January 2023. The President's Fund noted, however, that despite the aforementioned deadline extensions, there will be no change in the days allocated for other activities related to the selection.
Now stay with us to find out the reason and what transpired during the protest outside the Derana head office today. All this and much more coming up after this short commercial break.
It's hard to keep up with the new when you're listening to the same old Slim Bread Week. A week for professionals.
Welcome back. Now, a group of monks studying at the Buddhist and Pali University protested in front of the Derana head office today against the expose on the indiscipline at the premises was revealed. However, tensions arose when a person posing as a student threatened a journalist that was covering the protest. Derana revealed that a group of students at the Buddhist Anpali University had taken the lead in implementing the culture of ragging practiced in other government universities at the Buddhist Anpali University as well, blatantly defiling the purpose of this institution. Following this, the Vice-Chancellor of the university decided to close the university until further notice. Footage also procured from the premises showed many alcoholic beverages disposed after the students occupying the hostels were vacated. The Vice-Chancellor also announced yesterday that close to 30 students were suspended from attending lectures after Derana showcased footage of a party hosted by the university students. Due to this, a group of students from the university made their way to the Derana head office in Maradan today. The group of university students protested against the expose done by Derana on a host of disciplinary issues reported in the past. Meanwhile, a tense situation arose when a student posing as a university student with a monk threatened a journalist. Now in business news, most currencies and stocks in markets in Asia traded lower yesterday as fears of excessive rate hikes in the United States leading to a recession resurfaced, while inflation numbers from Singapore and Malaysia came in line with expectations. Now, Singaporean dollar became the highest performing currency in the region, depreciating just over 0.1% amid severe currency depreciations elsewhere in the region. Multiple US economic indicators, including the third quarter GDP data, highlighted the US economy's resilience. Investors fear this may provide further impetus to the Federal Reserve to continue hiking rates, potentially tipping the economy into a recession. South Korea's won weakened 0.4% on the day, and Indonesia's rupiah weakened 0.2%. Meanwhile, Malaysia reported consumer prices for November rising in line with market expectations, with a rise in food prices as the main contributor. The country's central bank has raised the rates 4 times this year by 25 basis points each time. Malaysia's ringgit did not react and continued to trade at around 4.4 to the US dollar, 0.1% weaker on the day. Singapore's dollar, which was flat leading up to the data release, rose about 0.2% to the US dollar. The Singapore dollar is said to be the best performing Asian currency this year, having weakened just 0.1% to the dollar. In comparison, other Asian currencies have weakened more than 4%, with India's rupee weakening over 10% so far this year. Stocks in Asia were broadly lower, with South Korea's stocks down 1.8%, said to be the worst performing equities among emerging Asian markets, as they had lost more than 22% so far this year. Markets in Taiwan, India and Singapore were also down between 0.5% and 1.3%. Now investors shed stocks at the highest weekly rate even in the week to Wednesday, selling a net $4.19 billion of equities, according to a report from a Bank of America Global Research yesterday that attributed the sell-off to tax-related purposes. US value funds and passive equities also recorded weekly net outflows of $7.2 billion and $27.8 billion respectively. The Bank of America said tax loss harvesting was behind the record outflows, a strategy that involves selling assets at a loss to offset capital gains taxes. Investors also reduced their cash holdings by a net $59.5 billion, the biggest drop since February 2022, and sold the largest quantity of investment-grade and high-yield bonds in 9 weeks. Local emerging market bonds drew their first net inflows since April, while emerging market equities recorded a third week of inflows, adding a net $3.2 billion. The sell-off in equity holdings came in a week where investors were rattled by the Bank of Japan's surprise monetary policy tweak on Tuesday. According to the Bank of America, deflationary Japan set the floor for global rates for the past 30 years. This floor would now be higher with the planned end of the Bank of Japan's yield curve control in 2023. Stocks took a hit last week after several major central banks raised interest rates, including the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank, along with the warnings that more hikes are needed to curtail inflation. The US benchmark S&P 500 had fallen 3.6% in the last 10 days and is at a more than 6-week low, while the Pan-European Stock 600 index retreated from a 6-month high last week. Now Archbishop Brian Udaigwe, the Apostolic Nuncio to Sri Lanka, calls on all those who celebrate the birth of Christ to share with those in need during the festive season and to look at what can be done for the betterment of the country during these trying times. With that, this is our special Christmas segment, The Message.
To extend my best wishes for a happy Christmas to all Sri Lankans, praying that the peace brought by Christ dwells in each family and of course in the entire nation. Let Christmas not be just a time for feasting, shopping, holiday making. Of course, those are good, but Christmas is more importantly a time for sharing. It is the message that Christ brought to us. And we need the message in a particular way now in the country, seeing the fractures caused by the coronavirus pandemic and of course the prevailing economic crisis. I use this occasion to encourage everyone to fan the flame of hope, to not lose hope at this moment, but to look at the future with enthusiasm, with an open spirit. And at the same time, I encourage the youth, the leaders of tomorrow, to be determined and confident and take the right steps for their future, to act responsibly because they are the leaders of tomorrow. They should make commitment for themselves and for the country while we pray for the religious and political leaders, and especially for the decision makers and stakeholders. We are all called at this time to look inwards and ask ourselves, what can we do for the country? What can anybody do for the country? Not only what others can do for me. So we hope that we can all contribute in one way or the other for the betterment of the country, especially at this particular time. We continue to hope and pray that Sri Lanka continues to be the pearl of the East from all perspectives. And at the end, I wish everyone a happy and prosperous New Year, blessed with peace and serenity.
This evening. Join us again tomorrow for the very latest news at the very same time. Have a pleasant evening and good night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk.